each other.
I was thinking about, the famed late, great Professor Derek Bell once said that something to the effect that freedom of speech is time specific. And I'm wondering how you all see the role of law and the role of those within the legal world. What role do they have to play in all of this? Or what role should be played? Or even more generally speaking, what is the philosophy of law as it should be applied to these concerns, or as you all experience it in the work that you do?
That's a really broad question, so I'm just going to answer it to the degree that I'm capable. But no, I don't think that the idea of free press at its core, the protection of the First Amendment is a sort of dated concept. Do I think that we need to reinterpret the Bill of Rights, the rights that protect people from intrusion by the government? Absolutely. I'll just give you an example. This is an unscientific example. I was talking to my eldest daughter, my partner and I, because she was getting an Instagram, and we were giving her this really long lecture about how long her life was going to be and how anything she put on there would follow her around for the rest of her life, and we really didn't want her to put stupid pictures of herself up on the internet, because one day she might have a job or she might be a serious person. So we had this whole conversation, and she just stared at us, and she was just like, you guys are lame, and she just sat quietly. And then about 45 minutes later, I checked her Instagram, and there were 12 selfies from like every angle. And I was like, what? We just had this conversation. So I mean, all that to say that this is an intelligent child. This is a child that's sensitive. But the fact of the matter is that the generation that is growing up with social media is fundamentally, their sense of self is different. One more example, quick, unscientific example. They have this thing called uvu. By a show of hands, how many people use uvu? See, one person in the back, and he looks really young. And uvu is a group video chat. So kids today, this is a popular thing. They use uvu. They don't call each other and like, hey, are you free? I'll call you on the video chat. They just do it. They just hit you with it and pop up on your screen like 4 of them all at the same time. So you see, to me, that's egregious. I don't, I even prefer text or beat me or something. Like, let me know we're going to talk. But for people in this generation, their ideas about privacy are different, okay? So what is myself and what is the rest of the world? Where does my sort of internal monologue begin and stream of consciousness into the universe end? And if we don't acknowledge that, then we are being ignorant, and we are going to be irrelevant to the generation coming up. And so that's why we need to evolve our jurisprudence, our legal understanding of these various rights to adapt to the world that we live in. Okay, that being said, I see Sandy Fulton and Mike German sitting here, and every time I look at them, they're from our National Security Office. Every time I look at them, I keep thinking about this case. There's a recent case here in D.C., and I'm going to just give you a quick example of how social media as a neutral tool can be used against the government. And many of you would have heard about this. Jeff Light is a local attorney, and somebody approached him and said, hey, I think one of the people who's been protesting in our group, this is local, this is in the past few months, is an agent, an informant, a provocateur. And so he was like, okay, so he took the person and he did some, basically like Google stalking, and Facebook stalking. Don't act like y'all don't know what I'm talking about. And so they have they have some kind of technology where when you tag yourself in the picture, you're basically tagged forever. And they can take the compute, this is new to me, but basically they can find you in any picture. So he did all this. He figured out where this woman's Twitter feed was. Why he went to this woman's Twitter feed and realized that she was tweeting from the protest, admitting to the fact that she was an agent. Now, so this is just an example of bad policing. Or if she wasn't actually, so there's this debate right now going on with regards to, was she actually acting in the capacity as law enforcement? I don't even know why it's a debate, but whatever. So this is what the MPD is coming out with. But the point is, think about that. I mean, back in the day, and other folks who were actually there for this can talk about how the government was able to convince or to create sort of, questions of credibility within movements against one another. So in a sense, could the internet, could sort of this new idea of what self is and what transparency is all about, could that make us more powerful? Could that make us more powerful in the face of this sort of pervasive government surveillance?